Welcome to our introductory course on Eternalism, the divine philosophy of the eternal worlds. Unit 15, Three-Tier Thinking, Part 1. In Unit 15, we'll dive into three-tier thinking and the power of mind mapping, a simple yet impactful tool for higher-order thinking and deeper learning. Mind mapping is key to understanding two- and three-tier thinking with their terms and tiers. We'll also illustrate how two-tier thinking forms the foundation for three-tier thinking, and how this dynamic approach equips us to tackle some of today's most challenging and controversial issues. Mind mapping is a big deal. It helps us see and understand the world on a much deeper level. As we move through the presentation, this will all become clear. So let's get started. Let's start with a definition of mind mapping. For our purposes, a mind map is defined as a visual diagram that organizes information in a clear hierarchy, showing how different parts connect and relate, what's foundational, what's dependent on context, and how they compare or contrast with each other. Its effectiveness lies in engaging multiple mental activities at once, such as contrasting, analyzing, organizing, and prioritizing skills, often underused in traditional thinking and learning. This makes mind mapping an invaluable tool. I've always believed that if you can't diagram it, you don't understand it. In this course on the philosophy of eternalism, we'll be taking full advantage of mind mapping as both a tool and a skill in what we call two- and three-tier thinking. Here's a simple and entertaining illustration of mind mapping, starting with a two-tier foundation representing two-tier thinking. A third tier is then added, creating what we'll call a substantial upgrade. This three-tier structure, combining the foundational tiers and the new third tier, is what we'll refer to throughout this course on eternalism as three-tier thinking. This mind mapping illustration stands out for its visual simplicity and ability to clarify key ideas. It effectively highlights the distinction between two-tier and three-tier thinking, while showcasing all the qualities that make mind mapping so effective. It's visual, spatial, relational, instructional, hierarchical, memorable, and fun. These same mind mapping qualities, like being memorable and fun, carry over to two-tier and three-tier thinking. Once you catch on to their insightfulness, you'll start using them creatively yourself. One challenge with two- and three-tier thinking is its inherent complexity. Unlike traditional linear learning methods, such as reading a book, which often focus on terms alone, two- and three-tier thinking introduces both terms and tiers into the equation. This is where the dynamic nature of mind mapping truly shines. Mind mapping allows us to manage this complexity by handling terms and tiers simultaneously, enabling us to compare and contrast relationships, hierarchies, and connections. Even more impressively, its dynamic structure allows us to add additional tiers without overwhelming us, maintaining clarity, simplicity, and adaptability in our understanding, something traditional approaches often fail to achieve. Two- and three-tier thinking marks a significant advancement in learning and understanding. It equips us to tackle even the most complex and controversial primacy issues, such as which has primacy, God or reality, justice or mercy, nature or nurture, biology or gender, and many more. By combining the dynamic power of mind mapping with the structured clarity of two- and three-tier thinking, we are able to analyze, compare, and resolve these issues with depth and precision. This approach not only deepens our gospel understanding, but also positions us far ahead in comprehending and addressing the challenging questions of our time with confidence and insight. At this stage in our understanding of mind mapping and two- and three-tier thinking, it's impossible to overstate the importance of the foundational nature of two-tier thinking. Moving forward, everything hinges on understanding these two key concepts: The first of which is, two-tier thinking is foundational. Tiers 1 and 2, this is where the battle is fought and the war is won. And the second of which is, three-tier thinking builds on this foundational victory. It adds clarity, context, and nuance to both foundational and derivative contexts without replacing the core foundation. This point cannot be emphasized enough. Everything hinges on understanding the primacy of two-tier thinking as the foundation for all further insights, including three-tier thinking. As we wrap up this presentation and prepare for part 2 of three-tier thinking, let's focus on two key primacy issues. First, which has primacy in two- and three-tier thinking? Terms or tiers? Answer: terms. Explanation: terms are the defining elements. They provide meaning and principles. Tiers are the hierarchical framework. They organize and prioritize terms. Second, which has primacy in two- and three-tier thinking? Content or context? Answer: content. Explanation: content provides the material. It supplies the terms for analysis and prioritization. Context applies the material. In foundational, tiers 1 and 2, and derivative, tiers 2 and 3, ways. These primacy issues are essential because they establish the foundational and derivative relationships between terms and tiers, as well as content and context, key to understanding and applying two- and three-tier thinking effectively. As an assignment, in the coming days, review and reflect on the primacy of terms over tiers and content over context. Be ready to map out how these relate to actual terms and relationships. This ends this Unit 15 presentation. Thank you for watching. Join us for Unit 16 as we explore deeper insights into two- and three-tier thinking and their roles in fully understanding the gospel and the philosophy of eternalism. Don't forget to take the Unit 15 overview quiz to reinforce your grasp of mind mapping.